Have you ever felt ignored by someone even as you try your best to deeply care for them, loving them with all your being, yet it seems they don't grasp the value of your presence, often neglecting you, leaving you feeling that despite prioritizing them in the depths of your heart, you receive little in return in your life? You wonder what you gain from giving so much, often returning alone with the feeling of being overlooked and neglected. If you allow this pattern to repeat, you are once again giving permission for them to destroy your self-esteem and insult you, but it's time to stand up to this. In this video, I share lessons to resist falling into this harmful cycle. To oppose this lesson means to act as if they don't exist, for by doing so, you deny them the power to affect your happiness and feelings. It's crucial to remember that the way they treat you is a reflection of their character, not yours. So, if you are new here, please like the video and subscribe. Statistics show that only 15% of my audience is subscribed to the channel, so if this content has helped you in any way, I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you constantly wonder why you're being ignored, you're wasting precious time. Free yourself from this cycle by acting as if their attention doesn't exist. This simple yet powerful action means not giving them control over your emotions. Remember, your worth is not defined by their attention or lack thereof. You're not here to be noticed by them. Focus on yourself. Channel your energy towards your personal growth and goals, making their negligence irrelevant to your path to success and security. You don't need their acknowledgement to succeed. You are your own source of motivation. Let their lack of attention fuel your drive to achieve more and show them that their ignorance doesn't define you. It's their loss if they can't see your worth. In that case, cut them out of your life. Focus on directing your thoughts and building a life where their attention or absence doesn't affect you. You're busy growing and reaching your goals while they're busy ignoring. Ultimately, remember their choice to overlook you only highlights your ability to surpass them, and someday they'll realize they missed the chance to know someone as incredible as you. Stop waiting for sympathy. It's time to move beyond waiting for sympathy and love from those who keep you at the margins. Falling into the trap of seeking their compassion is like giving away your power. You don't need others' sympathy to validate your feelings or existence. Start trusting logic over emotions. When you're ignored, it's not a cue to get emotional, but to think logically. Ask yourself what their behavior says about them. Can I move on without them? Clear your judgment through logic, rather than diving into an emotional cloud of sadness or anger due to the indifference you experience. Look at the facts they've chosen to overlook and think about your next step. Being ignored doesn't stop your world, nor diminish your abilities. Your worth isn't tied to their acknowledgement. Take control of your reactions, and don't let their indifference dictate your self-esteem. When you start to think logically, others' ignorance becomes a minor issue in your life, not a major one. Build your life on your own terms, with your rules. Sympathy or the lack thereof shouldn't be the compass guiding your decisions. Make choices that propel you forward and make you a better person. In the end, your growth and success are what truly matter, not others' validation. Remember, your strength lies in your ability to think logically and act accordingly. Keep your focus on bigger achievements and don't be held back by the lack of sympathy or empathy from those who don't understand your path. Don't depend on them. Create your own happiness. It's crucial to understand that happiness shouldn't depend on others, but you must create it yourself. When you allow someone else to control your happiness, you hand them the keys to your emotional well-being. The time has come to take back those keys and realize that the responsibility for your happiness rests with you, not them. When you're ignored, it doesn't mean your world stops or that you're unworthy. Rather, it's an opportunity to strengthen yourself. Start by focusing on what makes you happy Immerse yourself in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, and build relationships with people who appreciate and value you. Your happiness should be built on your own terms, not dependent on anyone else's attention or approval. Reject letting others' ignorance affect your mood. If you're ignored, that's okay. There are better and more important things to focus on, like your goals, aspirations, and personal growth. These are the elements that should direct your life. Remember, every moment spent worrying about why you're being ignored is a moment stolen from your happiness. Change the narrative and focus on what adds value to your life. Happiness is a personal journey that starts with you taking control and claiming your power. Decide today that your happiness won't be influenced by others' actions or lack of attention. Forge your own path with confidence and self-assurance. In the end, what counts is your satisfaction with your own life, not the fleeting attention of others. Stop focusing on them. Focus on your goals. It's time to shift your focus. Instead of focusing on those ignoring you and making them the center of your world, direct your attention towards your own goals. Your dreams and ambitions are what truly matter, beyond someone's lack of attention. Redirect your energy. Every minute spent thinking about why you're being ignored, instead, invest that time in working on your goals and aspirations. Your personal goals deserve all your attention, unlike someone who fails to recognize your worth. Start by setting clear goals. Identify what you truly want to achieve and focus on them. Create a plan, establish milestones, and start working towards achieving those goals. Your journey is about you, not them. Their ignorance can indeed be a disguised blessing, freeing you from the distraction of seeking their approval. Focus all your energy on what you wish to achieve to reach success. Your achievements are the best responses to those who once ignored you. Remember, you are the author of your own story. Don't let the actions of others dictate your plot. Write your own success story, where you are the hero striving to reach your dreams, letting others be mere footnotes in your journey. In conclusion, make your life and your goals your priority. Let others watch from the sidelines as you reach for the stars. Their ignorance should only strengthen you and sharpen your focus. Your life is about your journey and your success. Make it count and stop seeking validation from those who don't recognize your worth. Lesson 5. Stop seeking their validation. Start believing in yourself. It's imperative to stop seeking validation in your life, especially from those who ignore you. Waiting for a gesture of approval from someone who's turning their back on you is a waste of time and energy. You don't need their thumbs up to know your own worth. Your validation is the only one that truly matters. Reflect. Why should another person's opinion dictate your actions? It's your life, your choices, and when you seek their approval, you're giving them power over you. Take back that power by trusting in yourself and your abilities to make wise decisions without relying on external approval. Start valuing your own judgment more than any other opinion. Your confidence shouldn't depend on someone else's validation. Build your own self-esteem and change that mindset. You're the one living your life, not them. Your approval is what you really need. In your life, it's time to start believing in yourself, validating your own actions, celebrating your successes, and living your life on your own terms. Now is the time to act. Suffering arises when you give more importance to what you lack than to what you have. We must not allow the opinions and judgments of others to affect our inner peace. Epictetus formulated 15 Stoic principles that, when adopted, empower you to face life's challenges with unshakable strength and serenity. Let's explore how we can achieve a state of mind that allows us to reduce or even eliminate the suffering that comes from others' opinions. Let's begin. Direct your attention to what you can control. As Epictetus wisely stated, the main task in life is to discern and separate matters, clearly identifying what is out of your control and what is linked to your choices, over which you really have domain. In situations that disturb or frustrate you, it's crucial to take a moment before reacting. Breathe deeply. Reflect on which aspects of the situation you can influence and which are beyond your control. Channel your energy towards internal elements like your perspective, attitudes, and responses, abandoning the insistence on changing the external. Free yourself from the attachment to wanting to control or alter elements external to you, such as other people or external events. Serenely accept the limits of your own sphere of influence. This approach grants you freedom by freeing you from continuous disappointments. While it's valid to strive to improve challenging situations, do so without attachment to specific outcomes, as these are often determined by external factors. Find fulfillment in your values and choices, recognizing that true mastery lies in letting go of what is beyond your control. Accept life's imperfections. It's inherent in human nature to long for order and predictability, wishing for things to make sense and follow a predefined plan. However, the reality of life is that unexpected changes inevitably occur, people make mistakes, and suffering is experienced. Recognizing that things will never be perfect is essential. Insisting on perfection, whether in your own life or in others, only leads to constant frustration and disappointment. Demanding that circumstances be different from what they are can generate anxiety, anger, and resentment when reality does not conform to those expectations. The key lies in accepting imperfections and directing your energy towards working with life as it is, rather than how you wish it to be. Developing a clever eye to face difficulties without judging them allows you to show compassion towards others for their flaws, recognizing shared humanity. Self-compassion is crucial in recognizing your own shortcomings. While it's important to strive for improvement day by day, this process should be motivated by the desire for growth, not by self-flagellation in the face of failures or setbacks. Progress is gradually achieved as you adapt and reconcile with the intrinsic human condition of being prone to errors. Embracing the reality of life as imperfect and full of disorder is liberating, allowing you to stop struggling against its basic nature and gain perspective to respond wisely to events as they unfold. This practice of acceptance and wisdom fosters a more balanced relationship with life's ups and downs. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness stands as a beacon amid the whirlwind of the past and the anxiety of the future. Too often we get lost in the regrets of what has already happened or in the worry about what is to come, squandering the only time that truly exists, the present. When you notice your mind wandering, whether reliving old memories or weaving future narratives, gently guide your attention back to the present moment. Regular practice of mindful meditation acts as training to strengthen your concentration muscles and your ability to return to the here and now. Close your eyes comfortably and immerse yourself in the experience of the air entering and exiting. When thoughts arise, observe them without judgment and guide your attention back to the breath. This connection with the breath keeps you grounded in the present, that ever-changing and elusive moment. Mindfulness is an art that involves training all your senses, observing sights, listening to sounds, feeling sensations that occur in the present moment. Mindful meditation, besides its benefits, teaches you to accept thoughts that arise without criticism, maintaining attention in the now. You can carry this practice throughout the day, cultivating the ability to appreciate positive details that might otherwise go unnoticed, from enjoying a warm cup of coffee to sharing laughter with a friend. Each moment acquires a depth and richness that is lost when the mind resides elsewhere. Although planning for the future has its place, mindfulness in the present builds resilience, trusting in fully engaging with each experience as it unfolds, giving you the ability to handle anything that comes your way, whether positive or challenging. Logic defines everything. When an upsetting event occurs, it's common to get carried away by subjective emotional reactions. However, the Stoics urge us to take a step back, to observe things objectively before responding impulsively. While our emotions are boiling, the practice of pausing, breathing deeply, and creating mental space becomes increasingly crucial. Instead of acting from a reactive state, we are advised to resist the temptation to vent or make immediate decisions. Instead, we are invited to examine the situation rationally, adopting the perspective of an external observer. This mental exercise involves asking reflective questions like, is my response proportional to what actually happened? How might this situation look a few years from now? What would be the most logical perspective? Emotional distance provides clarity, allowing you to choose your next steps thoughtfully. Honoring emotions is essential, but we must not allow them to dictate our response. As Marcus Aurelius said, if external things pain you, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And remember, you always have the power to change that judgment. The key lies in recognizing that you always have the choice of how you perceive situations. Even painful events can be seen as opportunities to learn and grow. If you seek the positive in your experience, the quality of our experience depends deeply on the perspective we choose to adopt. Let go and accept the inevitable. It's common to feel convinced that we are owed a particular outcome simply because we desire it intensely. However, reality unfolds according to its own course, not always aligned with our demands. It's essential to recognize the frustrated reactions that arise from unmet expectations, and remember that in life, nothing is guaranteed, and events don't always conform to our hopes and desires. Free yourself from the judgment that dictates things should go differently, and learn to let go of the need for reality to conform to your rigid preferences. Recognize that neither life nor people owe you anything, and that you don't have an inherent right to get what you want. Instead of lamenting over a situation, reflect on what is within your reach. How do you choose to respond? What are your values, and how are you using the tools currently at your disposal? As Epicurus stated, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it occurs. Stopping insisting that life comply with certain legitimate expectations leads to greater serenity and wisdom. Lowering legitimate expectations allows you to constructively engage with events as they unfold, and your happiness becomes dependent solely on your own character and choices. Learning to expect less from life makes existence more fluid and natural. Accept change. Navigating the impermanence of existence, life in its essence is a constant flow of impermanence and change. Trying to control or cling rigidly to things as they are inevitably leads to suffering. It's imperative to deeply reflect on the fundamental reality that aging, loss, and death are intrinsic parts of existence. In this continuous flow of life, all relationships evolve, and circumstances are constantly changing, like the wheel of life that keeps turning. Accepting change involves allowing life to flow naturally, ingeniously, adapting as new situations arise. When you find yourself struggling against change or clinging to how things used to be, take a moment to remind yourself that resisting the inevitable only brings anxiety and disappointment. Freeing yourself from the attempt to control the uncontrollable is the first step towards conscious acceptance of change. After consciously embracing the reality of change, take a step further. and embrace change courageously. Every transition in life, however challenging it may be, contains opportunities masked as problems. Every closing door opens another that you might not have even imagined. With faith in the natural cycles of life, trust that every new beginning arises from some other beginning's end. It's important to honor and consciously mourn losses, but not to remain stuck lamenting a past change that has faded. Focus on the possibilities that lie before you, embracing the dynamic nature of life. By remaining flexible and capable of ingeniously responding to situations, you evolve, grow, and adapt, following the wise advice of Seneca. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Trust in the cycles of life and accept endings as opportunities for new and valuable beginnings. Judge wisely. Discernment in evaluating others. The act of judging others is an easy task, especially when it comes to pointing out errors and weaknesses. However, the way we issue judgments says more about ourselves than about those we criticize. Before issuing negative judgments, it's crucial to pause and reflect on the root of that judgment. Does it stem from our own insecurity, arrogance, or meanness? Is there a possibility that the criticism is merely a personal whim? The exercise of judgment in many cases is subjective and loaded with our own experiences and motivations. It's essential to examine our own motives before criticizing, considering if there's a positive intention underlying the offensive action we're evaluating. Cultural differences can also be causes of misunderstandings, so it's crucial to withhold judgment until we've walked a mile in the other person's shoes. Focus criticism only on issues that clearly involve injustice, cruelty, or harm is a key principle. Even in these cases, it's beneficial to seek to understand why someone might act that way rather than issuing hasty judgments. Judgment, when used wisely, can become a tool for teaching and reconciling. Following the Stoic philosophy of Marcus Aurelius, who advised reminding oneself every morning that those with whom you interact could be ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, envious, or repulsive, as they cannot distinguish good from evil. Tolerance and compassion are key in the process of judging. Offering feedback compassionately when it can contribute to the growth and improvement of others is valuable. Avoiding judging minor imperfections or issues of subjective preference allows us to focus on the positive potential of those around us, highlighting their virtues instead of pointing out their flaws. Practice forgiveness, an act of self-liberation. It's essential to be cautious with the desire for revenge. Nelson Mandela wisely expressed that resentment is like drinking poison and hoping it will kill our enemies. Indeed, it vigorously chains us to what hurt us. Forgiving others does not mean tolerating inappropriate behaviors or forcing reconciliation. Rather, forgiveness, from an internal perspective, involves letting go of bitterness and wishing well for those who have caused us pain, even if it's from a distance. This practice frees us from the ties of past pain, considering that the harm people inflict is often a reflection of their own unresolved traumas and flaws. By forgiving, we're not justifying others' actions nor denying the importance of healthy boundaries. Rather, we're choosing to free ourselves from the emotional weight we carry and allowing ourselves to explore our own unmet needs. By delving beneath anger, we often discover unhealed wounds that need attention. Addressing these needs in a healthy way, rather than clinging to anger, provides us with the opportunity to grow and evolve. Marcus Aurelius advised that the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Forgiveness, in this context, becomes an act of self-love and empowerment. It breaks the cycles of revenge, requiring courage and patience to allow our wounds to heal. Ultimately, forgiveness not only releases the past, but also paves the way for a healthier and more balanced present and future. Laughter therapy, a remedy for life's storms. The power of laughter, that unique ability to find humor in the absurdities, ironies, and frustrations of life, should not be underestimated. Laughing often not only generates perspective, but also infuses the necessary joy to weather storms under difficult conditions. In moments of adversity, seeking humor and enjoying simple joys, whether through funny animal videos, witty jokes, or light-hearted chats with friends, can be a revitalizing balm. The act of laughing relieves tension, renews the spirit, and provides a necessary outlet amidst the gravity of life. Not losing the ability to be light-hearted, to not take oneself too seriously, allows one to be playful and amusing, cultivating creativity and imagination to find the lighter side of any shared difficulty is an art that can strengthen resilience. Laughter and comedy, when shared with others, strengthen social bonds and build collective resilience. In laughter, our shared humanity is reaffirmed, as it allows us to laugh at our own weaknesses and find common humor that cuts through differences. As Seneca noted, if you have a cheerful heart, smile and laugh at all. Humor turns down the volume of adversity, reducing problems to size when they are transformed into objects of amusement rather than overwhelming seriousness. Of course, laughter does not seek to deny the depth of life, including pain, but offers a balance, a medicine that elevates lightness to help bear the unbearable. Laughter, in its essence, becomes a cure, a therapy that reminds us of the importance of finding joy, even in the most challenging moments. The inner quest, cultivating virtue and leading by example. Focusing attention on our own growth and habits, recognizing that we have direct control over our internal evolution, but very little control over how others ground their transformation, is crucial. We often face frustration when we wish others would conform to our vision of how they should be. However, instead of directing our energy outward, finding the way back to ourselves can be enlightening. Asking ourselves what virtues we can cultivate and how we can be a positive example, modeling the change we wish to see rather than demanding it from others, is a key principle. As Marcus Aurelius expressed, let us no longer waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Let's be one. Personal growth is achieved through conscious work on oneself, not merely by wishing others would improve. Inspiring excellence through our own actions and, with love, guiding those who sincerely wish to grow makes a difference. Focusing inward on self-development not only leads to serenity and personal confidence, but also allows us to stand out by manifesting our highest values. When we first care for our own inner garden, the rest follows naturally. Authenticity and genuine personal growth not only benefit oneself, but also light the way for others, living simply, beyond appearances and material possessions. In the 11th entry of our philosophical exploration, we address the crucial principle of living simply. In our society, we often get caught up in the obsessive pursuit of status symbols, monetary wealth, and luxuries, mistakenly believing that these will bring a lasting sense of fulfillment. However, introspective reflection is essential. What void are we really trying to fill by obsessively pursuing elegant homes, ostentatious cars, gadgets, and other non-essential possessions? On this path to simplicity, it's crucial to question the purpose of our choices and recognize if we're tying our self-worth to appearances and material possessions. True wealth, as Seneca noted, lies not in having much, but in needing little. It's imperative to understand that excessive ambition and the pursuit of professional status often distract us from higher goals and can distract us from our true purpose in life. Living simply involves making ethical and conscious choices in our purchases, opting for durable goods that truly meet our needs, cultivating pleasures that gold cannot buy, such as time in nature, reading and love, connects us with fundamental aspects of existence that are often lost in the whirlwind of consumerism. Beyond a certain point, money ceases to increase happiness, and it's essential to avoid the trap of confusing the means of living with the ends of life. True wealth is found in the development of wisdom and character, not in the endless accumulation of possessions. While financial security alleviates stress, achieving fulfillment goes beyond the figures in a bank account. Virtue, service to others, and the full realization of our gifts are the true goals that provide us with a life rich in meaning. Number 12. The virtue of humility. In the 12th exploration of philosophical principles, we address the virtue of humility, a quality often overlooked but of profound impact on our interactions and perceptions of the world around us. Humility is the antithesis of arrogance. It's easy to fall into the trap of inflating our own role and assuming total control over successful situations. However, reality reminds us that many external factors and variables escape our control, reminding us of our relative limitation in influencing outcomes. When things go well, recognizing the role of luck, the help of others, and variables beyond our direct influence is essential. Humility invites us not to take excessive credit and to avoid arrogance by assuming that all success is due solely to our skill. Similarly, when problems arise, humility urges us not to blame ourselves exclusively. Understanding that we do not have total control over outcomes protects us from falling into shame and excessive self-criticism. As Seneca rightly pointed out, everything is opinion, and our perceptions can be easily distorted by biases. Maintaining a modest perspective on our importance in the grand scheme of life helps us overcome obstacles with humility and acceptance. Cultivating humility involves finding a balance between self-confidence and detachment. Although we play our role in the world, we recognize that we are a small and changing part of a much larger landscape. This approach allows us to positively influence what is within our reach without falling into the trap of self-inflation. We find wisdom in resisting verbal impulsivity and holding the tongue at strategic moments. This principle invites reflection on the importance of moderation in expressing our thoughts and the reflective pause before releasing words that could be imprudent or unpleasant. Silence is a valuable tool that allows us to contain impulsive reactions and offers the opportunity to carefully consider the need and benefits of expressing certain thoughts. Before giving wings to our opinions, it's crucial to ask ourselves if what we're about to communicate is true, kind, useful, and whether silence wouldn't be more beneficial. This principle addresses the duality of the tongue and the ears, suggesting that nature gave us two ears and only one tongue so we could listen twice as much as we speak. It invites us to practice active and reflective listening before making hasty judgments. Learning to communicate our truth with ethical care, reserving our words for situations where they truly add value, is an art that promotes the building of stronger relationships. Excessive speech, even when not overtly harmful, is also addressed. The philosophy holds that not every fleeting idea requires a public announcement or debate. In many cases, conscious silence not only preserves mental energy, but also prevents unnecessary discord and dispersion of efforts. In the 14th contemplation, we explore the powerful concept of Amor fati, which translates to loving your fate. Instead of constantly resenting circumstances that may displease us, the Stoics challenge us to actively embrace and accept conditions as they are. When faced with frustrating situations, the Stoics invite us to pause and reflect. Instead of falling into complaints or anger against reality, the key question we ask ourselves is, how can I engage constructively with this? Instead of resisting what cannot be changed, This philosophy transforms the natural inclination to see challenges and limitations as obstacles into opportunities to practice virtues like courage, wisdom, and justice. For example, financial difficulties can inspire voluntary simplicity, allowing for the development of fortitude and improved discernment. As Epicurus advised, Amor fati does not seek for events to happen as one wishes, but rather to accept that they happen as they occur. Aligning oneself with reality involves taking sensible steps to improve conditions when possible, but also involves accepting what cannot be changed without falling into resentment or self-pity. This balanced approach empowers us to face life's ups and downs with a resilient mindset. Loving your fate means embracing the full spectrum of experiences with mindfulness and good spirit, stopping the fight against reality and transforming obstacles into opportunities. In essence, Amor fati becomes a practice of deep acceptance and empowerment that guides our path to a fulfilling and meaningful life. Number 15. Memento mori, reflections on the inevitability of death. The 15th contemplation, Memento mori, invites us to frequently reflect on the inevitability of death, providing valuable perspective. When we get caught up in the small anxieties and frustrations of daily life, recognizing that everyone, no matter how formidable, will eventually leave this world and all its earthly troubles behind, we gain a clarifying view of our daily struggles. This reminder, far from being demoralizing, encourages us to put our concerns into context. Mortality, rather than being a burden, has an uplifting effect, illuminating our priorities in the face of the inescapable reality of death. This approach allows us to appreciate the transience of each moment, highlighting the precious nature of the time we are granted. Memento mori also instills in us a passionate motivation to fully use our gifts and express love unreservedly before the opportunity passes. Imagining that today might be our last day urges us to spend it meaningfully and appreciate the remaining time. As Seneca advised, let us prepare for death as if it were coming without having been promised to us. Living wisely and seriously in the present becomes imperative when we recognize the transience of existence. This Stoic reflection not only seeks to balance the awareness of death, but also to celebrate this fleeting gift of existence. By confronting our own mortality, we find the freedom to live more fully and authentically. I invite you to integrate these reflections into your daily life, remembering the impermanence and seizing every moment with gratitude and awareness. If these Stoic lessons resonated with you, I encourage you to start a discussion in the comments. I appreciate Stoic conversations as they are fundamental to individual growth. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Whoever wishes to have constant success must adapt their behavior to the times. These wise words from the Renaissance philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli continue to resonate powerfully in our contemporary era. The essence of adaptability and the ability to evolve with change in circumstances are fundamental, especially in the realm of personal relationships and self-esteem. Have you ever felt overshadowed, going unnoticed despite pouring your heart into a task? Have you experienced being underestimated by the people you love? This video is specially designed for people like you. Join us on a journey where we will explore 9 essential steps, deeply rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom, designed to illuminate your path and position you as a valuable priority in the lives of those around you. Discover how to apply these principles in your daily life and learn to stand out not only in your own perception, but also in the eyes of others. Subscribe for more inspiring tips and tools to be the best version of yourself. Valuing yourself is the first step on your journey towards being valued by others. As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Roman emperor, said, You have power over your mind, not over external events. Recognizing this truth will give you the strength to begin. So, what does valuing oneself mean? In a nutshell, it's becoming aware of who you are, understanding your strengths and weaknesses. Spend time reflecting on what you bring to life and in which areas you can improve. Self-care is essential, whether it's taking a moment to relax, indulging in a hobby you're passionate about, or simply ensuring you get enough rest. As the Persian poet Hafez said, happiness has been looking for you. Make sure you give it a chance to find you by taking care of yourself. Step 1. The ancient art of creating a fear of loss. Treat your body and mind with respect. As the Persian philosopher said, happiness has been looking for you. Make sure you give it a chance to find you by taking care of yourself. Setting personal boundaries is crucial. Say no when necessary and ensure that others understand and respect those boundaries. Remember, it's not selfish to prioritize your well-being. In fact, it's essential. Continuous growth is a fundamental part of valuing oneself. Always strive to be the best version of yourself. As the renowned philosopher Seneca expressed, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. Invest in your personal growth, learn new skills, and broaden your horizons. When you truly value yourself, you create an aura of respect that others can sense. You set a standard for how you should be treated in all your relationships. Remember, your relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship you have. Valuing yourself is the first step towards being valued by others. Step 2. The Stoic value of unavailability. When you value yourself, others will follow suit. The second step is mastering the art of unavailability. In a world where we are constantly connected thanks to technology, it might seem counterintuitive not to be always available. However, occasionally, not being always available can be a powerful tool to establish your value. The wise Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught us that all external events are beyond our control, and we should accept whatever happens with calm and detachment. This highlights the essence of not succumbing to the urgency of attending to every call and message. Why unavailability is an art. Let's delve deeper into this concept. The value of your time is incalculable. Not all situations or people deserve immediate access to it. By being selectively available, you communicate that your time is precious. In the words of the poet Rumi, the reason everyone is in love with your time is that it's a treasure. So, by mastering the art of unavailability, you ensure that your time is spent wisely and on those who truly deserve it. Step 3. Mystery, the magnetic allure of antiquity. The Sufi mystic teaches us not to settle for following the stories of others. We must unfold our own myth. What this means is that we shouldn't follow the norm of always being available. Instead, we create our own story, generating desire in others. Imagine this. We often desire more what seems unattainable, what we cannot have. When you're not always available, you unknowingly increase your perceived value. Constant availability can be exhausting, but by choosing when to engage, you maintain a sense of balance in your life. This gives you time to recharge, reflect, and ensure that when you are available, you're at your best. Establishing mutual respect is essential. When you respect your own time, you set a precedent for others to do the same. This mutual respect can be the foundation of deep and meaningful relationships. In summary, as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, very little is needed to make a happy life. All you need is within you. Step 4. Let them invest. The ancient balance between giving and receiving. Shifting your mindset to be selectively available isn't about playing games, but about genuinely valuing your time and ensuring others recognize its value too. The enigma of mystery. Attracting people. Mystery has always exerted a magnetic power over human curiosity. Whether it's the enigmatic smile of the Mona Lisa or the indecipherable secrets of ancient civilizations, the unknown has a compelling appeal. This concept, when applied to human interactions, possesses a unique potency. As the renowned Persian poet Hafez said, "The words you don't say are the loudest." But why should we maintain a shroud of mystery? Step 5. Stoic self-worth. Today, the norm seems to be sharing every aspect of your life on social media and other platforms. However, holding back some aspects of your life serves as a reminder of your unique individuality. The Stoic philosopher Seneca observed that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Sharing too much can sometimes lead to misinterpretations and the creation of erroneous scenarios in others' minds that are not accurate representations of who you are. Imagine your life as an iceberg, where only a small fraction is above water, allowing only a glimpse of your complete self. By sharing only what's necessary, you can create deeper interactions. People will want to know more and understand the depths you offer. This will build stronger bonds, slowly revealing aspects of yourself over time. It's not about playing games, but about building anticipation and depth in the getting to know process. By doing so, you become more memorable and valued. Remember the words of Rumi, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love." This practice also protects you from superficial judgments. Step 6. The paradox of distance. We live in an era of instant gratifications and fleeting attention spans. In this fast-paced world, it's easy for people to judge you quickly based on snippets of information. However, by being mysterious, you ensure that those who take the time to know you understand who you truly are. To emphasize this point, let's recall the words of Aurelius, who tells us that the best revenge is to be unlike those who have wronged us. In a world eager to reveal every secret and with little room for calm, intriguing mystery allows your depth to be your strength. Earning others' efforts is a beautiful principle in life that resonates deeply with human nature. We value what we achieve through effort. As the Roman philosopher Seneca observed, we avoid ventures because things are difficult. Things are difficult because we do not venture. Do not be afraid to be enigmatic and distant in certain situations. It can increase your appeal and deepen the connections you forge. Step 7. Why Stoics don't always initiate. The idea that things are worth it when they require effort can be eloquently applied to human relationships. Understanding the art of allowing others to invest in you can be a game changer. Let's break it down. The psychology of value tells us that when someone makes an effort to understand us, support us, or spend time with us, they unconsciously attribute more value to us. It's like planting a seed and nurturing it as it grows. The gardener feels a deep connection to the tree. Balancing the scale is crucial. While it's essential to be there for others and give consistently, not allowing others to reciprocate can create an imbalance. By allowing them to invest in you, you foster a mutual and balanced relationship. As Rumi beautifully expressed, lovers don't meet somewhere, they are in each other all the time. By allowing others to invest in you, you give room for mutual love to flourish. Step 8. Happiness, the age-old secret weapon, fostering deep connections. When you allow someone to invest their time or emotions in you, they're not just spending resources, but they're also intertwining their journey with yours. This creates deeper and lasting connections. Great teachers have advised over the years that we should be careful with whom we associate, as humans tend to mimic the habits of those they interact with. Let your loved ones invest in you and, in doing so, create bonds that reflect deep mutual respect. Additionally, you build your self-esteem by allowing others to invest in you. This is a reaffirmation of your worth, a statement that you are valuable, worthy of attention and love. As Hafez says, "You yourself are your own obstacle. Rise from within you," recognizing your value so that others can see it too. In summary, as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, let's not waste any more time arguing about what a good man should be. Let's be one. Understanding your value and allowing others to recognize and invest in it. In this way, you pave the path for a richer and more meaningful life. Step 9. The Stoic strength in walking away. After establishing a scenario for mutual respect in relationships, it's essential to embrace your inner value as the foundation for genuine self-respect. Recognizing and prioritizing our needs before seeking validation from the external world is key. As the wise Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius pointed out, he who does not value himself cannot value anything or anyone. Now let's explore the nuances of self-worth. The essence of self-esteem involves recognizing that we have intrinsic value. It's not about arrogance or narcissism, but about recognizing that we all have intrinsic value. As Rumi beautifully expressed, "You were born with wings. Why prefer to crawl through life?" We have the power to fly, but it starts with recognizing our capabilities and potential, or even our healthy limits. Setting boundaries is not about keeping people out, but about safeguarding our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Boundaries are the bridge between our needs and the external world, ensuring we don't overextend ourselves. As Seneca wisely observed, we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. Ultimately, by setting clear boundaries, we're not diminishing the value of others. Rather, we're ensuring that our own cup is full so we can give more generously, fostering a cycle of healthy reciprocity. In this way, we take control of our value and foster richer and more meaningful relationships. As the Persian poet Hafez said, "Even after all this time, the moon never says to the sun, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole sky." This reminds us that when you prioritize yourself, you emit a frequency that resonates with those who truly value and respect you. You act as a filter that ensures your circle is filled with genuine, supportive, and loving people. Call to action. Click on my playlist and dive into ancient wisdom. In conclusion, as the Stoic masters once said, know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. Before seeking recognition and love from the world, make sure you give it to yourself first. Independence of mind and heart. Do not make someone your universe. In our quest for love, validation, or recognition, it's easy to make someone the center of our universe. However, there's profound wisdom in maintaining a sense of independence, even in the closest relationships. This doesn't mean distancing yourself from your loved ones, but enriching your own life so you can contribute more to your relationships. Understanding desirability through scarcity is a basic principle of human nature. Often we desire what seems slightly out of reach. Seneca reflected, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." By not giving every ounce of ourselves, we create a subtle charm. Cultivating personal passions is essential. Having interests, hobbies, or passions outside of any relationship not only gives you a sense of purpose, but also makes you more intriguing. As Rumi beautifully expressed, let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. Maintaining individuality is crucial. Though it's beautiful to share a life with someone, it's essential to have individual experiences and stories of your own. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Cultivating a rich inner world makes you more attractive to those around you. The balance between togetherness and separation is essential. where the art of relationship dynamics comes into play. It's about intertwining lives while still having silos of independence. As poetically described by Hafez, even after all this time, the moon never says to the sun, "You light up my life." They shine when it's their time. To conclude this point, it's crucial to remember the wisdom of Epictetus. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. Ignoring things that are beyond our control is essential. Value your relationships, but also remember to value your independence. The art of reciprocity involves rebalancing the dynamics of communication in relationships. Lasting relationships, whether friendly or romantic, thrive on a delicate balance of giving and receiving. The power of silence is another valuable tool. Sometimes silence can speak louder than words. By not constantly initiating communication, you create space for the other person to step forward. Silence can often translate into a longing or the realization of someone's value, re-establishing the connection. It's not about playing games. It's a genuine effort to rekindle reciprocity in the relationship. If they care and notice the change in dynamics, they'll likely make an effort to reach out. As Marcus Aurelius observed, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It's all within you." Believe in your value and allow the relationship to rebalance appropriately. Remember, this approach should be about introspection and understanding, not manipulation. As the wise Stoic teachers warned, first you must know who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. It's about understanding your patterns in relationships and ensuring they reflect your self-esteem. To sum up this segment, initiating communication is a sign of care and connection. It's vital to ensure it's a two-way street. After all, relationships are based on mutual respect and understanding. Cultivating inner happiness is like becoming the architect of your own happiness. Often, we entangle our sense of happiness with external factors, such as people, material possessions, or certain circumstances. But the secret to lasting satisfaction lies within us. Taking control of our own joy not only empowers us, but also makes us a beacon of positivity for others. Understanding the source of our happiness is crucial. Too often, we place the responsibility for our happiness on others, thinking that if only this person acted in a certain way, we'd be happier. However, as the Stoic masters once proclaimed, we are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. Our happiness is not defined by others, it's a reflection of our internal mindset. Finding joy in simplicity is a beautiful idea. We deeply appreciate everyone for joining us in this exploration of self-esteem, value, and understanding. Each of us is a universe in itself, with unique stories, struggles, dreams, and destinies. As Marcus Aurelius wisely reminded us, the universe is change, and our life is what our thoughts make of it. We sincerely hope this video has sparked a change in your thoughts, fostering a greater understanding and deepening of your self-esteem. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe and be part of our growing family. Until next time, remember to shine with your bright light, and may your journey be filled with love, wisdom, and profound discoveries. Until next time, stay with the Creator. Disconnecting from people and situations is more than just walking away. It's embracing a life philosophy that offers us the tranquility we all yearn for. In this video, we'll explore 7 principles that can free us from unnecessary ties. Discover the art of maintaining your inner peace, even amidst external circumstances. Learn to accept what you can't change and focus on what you can control. The first step to distancing yourself from someone involves more than just walking away. It's a strategic move to gain perspective and safeguard your judgment from tumultuous emotions. As a wise Stoic advised in his Letters to Lucilius, retreating is necessary to better understand ourselves. It's not about avoiding the situation permanently, but about creating space to consciously choose our responses. Imagine being immersed in a bustling city of emotions and Stoic chaos. In the face of difficult situations or confusing emotions, the Stoics suggest that taking a brief break can be like finding an oasis of calm amid the turmoil. It's not about avoiding reality, but giving yourself the chance to think clearly without the immediate interference of emotions. This conscious retreat involves not just physically stepping away, but also allowing yourself solitude to contemplate your feelings and thoughts. In the words of Seneca, it's like pressing a pause button amid chaotic life. It's finding a quiet place within yourself to catch your breath, objectively assessing the situation without the surrounding emotional noise. In simple terms, it's like pausing a game. You don't leave the game forever, you just step away for a moment to clear your mind. Stoicism tells us that our feelings are like the weather, they come and go. By stepping away, you're giving yourself the chance to let the storm in your head calm down, making it easier to figure out what to do next. This step is not about running away, but pressing pause to find a quiet space amid life's noise. Stoicism suggests stepping back because when things get tough, our emotions can act like a storm clouding our judgment. By taking a brief break, we can let the storm pass and see things more clearly. The Stoic idea is that in this quiet space, we can make decisions based on reason and not just how we feel at the moment. Finding a quiet place, whether by taking a short walk, sitting in a park, or just being alone in your room, is key. The idea is to create a little space for yourself where you can think without distractions. Remember, it's not about escaping forever, but creating a moment of peace to figure things out. Consider if you need to distance yourself from yourself. The second step to detaching from people involves careful consideration of whether distancing is a rational and virtuous choice. Stoicism encourages us to align our actions with reason and virtue, seeking flourishing through moral excellence. The Stoic concept of oikeiosis, the idea of appropriation or familiarization, suggests that our natural inclination is towards virtue and social harmony. But not all relationships contribute positively to our moral growth. Stoics, like Epictetus, urge us to evaluate our associations and choose wisely. Although we can't choose our circumstances, we can always choose how we respond to them. Reflect on the nature of your relationship with the person in question. Does it positively contribute to your moral development and well-being? Stoicism teaches that distancing from toxic relationships is not a sign of weakness, but a manifestation of wisdom and virtue. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write mind over body, so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. Imagine spending time with friends, and one of them starts doing things that make you uncomfortable. Stoicism suggests that, just as you choose good friends, you should think about whether it's a good idea to continue spending time with that person. In simple terms, it's asking if that person helps you grow and be happy, or if they're making things harder. Stoics believe that good friends are like the sun for our souls. Remember, Stoicism doesn't advocate for isolation. While it focuses on self-discipline and inner strength, it recognizes that humans are social creatures who seek guidance and support from trusted individuals. Relationships are an integral part of the Stoic path in search of moral excellence. The third step to separating perspective involves engaging in open and honest communication with someone we trust. This aligns with the Stoic idea of having philosophical friends, those with whom we can share thoughts, fears, and struggles. Seneca, in his letters, highlighted the importance of friendship and the role it plays in our quest for virtue. He stated that one of the greatest gifts a man can receive, besides good judgment and a modest temperament, is that of a friendly friend, someone he can consult as a mirror. Sharing your thoughts and emotions with a trusted friend, someone who embodies Stoic values of wisdom and virtue, serves not only as a cathartic release, but also as an opportunity to gain valuable insights and perspectives. Stoicism teaches that by opening up to others, we strengthen our social bonds and foster a sense of community, essential elements in our journey towards Stoic detachment. When faced with difficult feelings or a confusing situation, talking to someone you trust can be very helpful. Imagine this person as your wise game companion, capable of offering good advice. Stoics believe in the idea that we're not meant to face everything alone. Having Stoic companions, whether a friend, family member, or even a mentor, is like choosing your ally in the game of life. When things get tough, sharing what you're experiencing, whether in person, by phone, or through messages, is a way to seek support without overwhelming. You're not burdening that person, you're sharing. Shining light on your thoughts and feelings with a good game companion can offer insights and perspectives you hadn't considered. Stoicism teaches that facing challenges with a friend by your side makes the journey much less bumpy. Additionally, establishing limits to your feelings is crucial. Stoic philosophy emphasizes understanding and managing our emotions rather than suppressing them. Acknowledging and accepting emotions while maintaining rational control is key in this process. The fourth step of Stoic detachment guides us to set limits for our feelings. It's not about becoming indifferent or insensitive, but about exercising control over the intensity and duration of our emotional responses. Often, the Stoic concept of apatheia is misunderstood as complete emotional disconnection, but it actually refers to a state of tranquility achieved by mastering our own emotional responses. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, articulated this concept by stating that we have the power to suspend the action of passions, or at least to resist our inclinations. A Stoic practice is negative visualization, where we contemplate potential challenges and losses to mentally prepare for them. Setting limits to our feelings allows us to approach situations with a balanced perspective and keep our emotions under the control of reason. We can imagine our feelings as colored blocks, and sometimes they pile up, forming a tall tower. In simple terms, Stoicism suggests that it's great to feel our emotions, but it's also smart to make sure they don't rise too high and make everything wobble. Stoics talked about finding a balance, like building a tower high enough to be interesting, but not so high that it collapses. Imagine your feelings as blocks of different colors: happy, sad, angry, etc. Setting limits means being in charge, like a builder deciding how high to build the tower. It's about being okay with your feelings, but also making sure they don't topple everything. In the fifth step of walking away, it involves reflecting and considering the potential consequences of distancing yourself from a particular person. Stoicism urges us to be foresighted, evaluating the long-term implications of our actions. Aligned with the Stoic concept of mindfulness to the present moment, it also encourages us to consider the future consequences of our decisions. In this framework, Stoicism highlights the importance of living in the present, but also urges us to think about the future consequences of our actions. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, reflected on this in his Meditations, highlighting that It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Stoicism teaches us to weigh the potential benefits and losses of distancing ourselves, applying rationality and virtue to our decision-making. Imagine you're walking through a forest with different paths to choose from. Distancing yourself from someone, according to Stoicism, is like deciding which path to take in the forest. The Stoic philosophy holds that thinking about the future is like planning your moves in a game. Choosing to distance yourself from someone is like choosing a path in the forest. Stoics believed that looking to the future helps us make decisions that lead to better outcomes. In the sixth step, give yourself a break from social media. The prevalence of social media in contemporary society has introduced new challenges to maintaining emotional well-being, and Stoicism, with its timeless wisdom, provides insights on how to manage our relationship with digital platforms and the constant influx of information. The sixth step of Stoic detachment encourages us to take a break from social media. Although Stoic philosophers lived in a very different world from ours, they also faced external influences that disturbed their inner peace. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, lamented the distractions that hindered a well-lived life. Applying this view to the digital realm, the constant stream of information and comparisons on social media can divert our attention from what truly matters. Imagine social media as a large puzzle. Sometimes trying to solve it with too many pieces can be overwhelming. In simple terms, Stoicism suggests it's okay to temporarily step away from this digital puzzle. Disconnecting from social media creates space for introspection, reducing the external stimuli that can contribute to emotional turmoil. Following Seneca's warning to focus on what truly matters, this step of detachment invites us to think of social media as a digital puzzle that's okay to set aside for a while, to return with a fresh mind. Stoic mindfulness teaches us that our minds need breaks, just like our bodies. Social media can be like a constant stream of puzzle pieces with updates, images, and news that can sometimes be overwhelming. Stoic philosophers suggest that taking a break from this digital puzzle can help us keep our minds clear and focused. It's like setting the puzzle aside for a moment and doing something else, whether it's going for a walk, reading a book, or just relaxing without screens for a while. In Stoicism, it's about taking control of your digital time, deciding when to engage with the puzzle and when to take a break. Remember, it's not about abandoning social media forever. It's about making sure it doesn't overwhelm you and keeping your mind clear. The seventh and final step involves focusing on what you need when separating from people and situations. The practical guidance involves deliberate attention to your own needs. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-sufficiency and inner resilience, aligns perfectly with this principle. Epictetus, a Stoic born into slavery, underscored the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. In Stoicism, it's about taking control of your digital time, deciding when to engage with the puzzle and when to take a break. Remember, it's not about leaving social media forever. It's about ensuring it doesn't overwhelm you and keeping your mind clear. The seventh step urges us to focus on what we really need, and I'm not referring to materialistic needs, but to emotional well-being and virtue. Here, the Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort comes into play, intentionally exposing ourselves to challenging situations to build resilience, thereby strengthening our fundamental needs for emotional stability and moral integrity. At the heart of this step is the Stoic idea that true fulfillment comes from aligning our actions with moral excellence. A Stoic like Maximus claimed that virtue is the only real good, reminding us that happiness and tranquility emerge when we clearly understand what is within our control and what is not. Focusing on what we can control, such as our thoughts, actions, and reactions, empowers us to navigate relationships and situations with Stoic wisdom. Imagine life as a buffet with all kinds of things on the table, some good and some not so good. Here, Stoicism suggests that when deciding what to put on your plate, it's wise to focus on what you really need. It's like choosing wisely in life, a bit like selecting the best items from the buffet. Stoic philosophers believe that what we need is not always the same as what we want, and the buffet metaphor invites us to think of our life as an opportunity to choose friends, activities, and experiences that truly nourish us instead of just taking everything that's available. Stoicism tells us it's okay to choose the things that really fill us and make us happy in the long run. It's like saying, I'll choose things that are good for my heart and head. Think about what you really need for your emotional well-being and growth. It's like selecting the snacks that make you feel good, not just the ones that taste good for a moment. It teaches us that by focusing on what we really need, we make our life much more satisfying in the long run. In the journey of detaching from people and situations, Stoic teachings offer profound and practical insights. It involves temporarily stepping back, considering the rationality of distancing, engaging in open communication, setting limits for our feelings, contemplating future consequences, taking breaks from external influences like social media, and focusing on our fundamental needs. By doing this, we align our actions with Stoic virtues in the journey of detachment. According to Stoic teachings, we find valuable reflection on the importance of discerning between what we truly need for our emotional well-being and growth, and the fleeting distractions that often tempt us in the moment. By applying Stoic principles, we learn it's not about avoiding human connections or life's complexities, but about managing them with wisdom. Each step, from the temporality and distancing to reflecting on future consequences, invites us to be thoughtful explorers in the forest of existence. Stoicism teaches us to be mindful of our choices, to set limits on our emotions, and to focus on the essentials for our well-being. By doing so, we create a sturdy tower of emotions and thoughts, balanced and capable of withstanding the test of time. By temporarily disconnecting from social media, we are urged to find a balance between the constant tangle of information and the need for clear mental space. This digital break is akin to setting aside a complex puzzle for a moment to return with a fresh and renewed mind. Finally, by focusing on what we truly need, we align our actions with Stoic virtues that lead us toward a more fulfilling and satisfactory life. Happiness, according to Seneca, is found in enjoying the present without anxiously depending on the future. In summary, Stoic detachment is not an act of indifference, but a conscious pursuit of a more meaningful and emotionally fulfilling life. Join this community of practical philosophy explorers and discover a path toward a fuller and more balanced life. Subscribe now and let's embark on this exciting journey together. Envy is a powerful emotion that can deeply affect our relationships and personal well-being. Through Stoicism, we'll learn to recognize the signs of envy in others, understand its roots, and develop a wise and compassionate response. Envy, as a complex and often unpleasant emotion, has been a topic of interest and reflection throughout human history. In particular, the Stoics, followers of an ancient philosophy that promotes virtue, self-discipline, and wisdom as means to achieve happiness, addressed envy and its effects in depth. But how do we identify an envious person in our daily lives in light of Stoic principles? This is an intriguing question that leads us to explore not only the signs of envy, but also how we can apply Stoic wisdom to understand and deal with this emotion. In this exploration, we'll discover signs of envious people. Are you ready to delve into the 7 signs of an envious person from a Stoic perspective? Join me on this journey of understanding and self-discovery, There's a difference between jealousy and envy. Jealousy stems from fear of something or someone, whereas envy is the desire for what belongs to another person, be it a car, a house, an appearance, or social status. In a general sense, envy is not seen as something positive, but the situation is a bit more complex when we break down this feeling. We see that envy is a form of desire specifically focused on other people's possessions. Desire implies wanting to achieve something that we find desirable, as if it were for ourselves. When we experience envy for something external, like someone else's money, partner, car, or job, we're actually chasing pleasure rather than happiness. This nuance is essential to understand the dynamics of envy and how Stoics offer us valuable lessons on how to approach it. As Epictetus rightly said, "You can be invincible if you never enter into a fight whose outcome is uncertain." Therefore, if you see someone covered in honors or power, or enjoying high esteem or favored in any other way, do not be carried away by appearances and do not consider them happy. Because if the essence of good resides in things we can control, there's no reason to leave room for jealousy and envy. It's unfortunate that some people come to cling to envy in such a way that they end up engaging in immoral behaviors, such as stealing, being unfaithful, and even going to the extreme of committing homicide. With all this, we start with the first sign that warns you're with an envious person. Number 1. Excessive competitiveness. One of the telltale signs of envy is the tendency to compete excessively with others. From a Stoic perspective, this sign is particularly interesting, as Stoics advise healthy competition and self-improvement. However, envy takes this competition to a harmful and destructive level. Envious people not only wish for what others have, but also wish to outdo those others. This excessive competition is not based on a genuine pursuit of self-realization, but on the need to overshadow others to feel better about themselves. Instead of competing to achieve their own goals and aspirations, they focus on outdoing those they envy. Stoics, in contrast, advocate the idea that competition should be a means to self-improvement, not to harm others. Striving for excellence and self-discovery is a much nobler goal than simply outdoing others. From a Stoic perspective, excessive competition originating from envy is counterproductive and generates negative emotions rather than motivating virtue and wisdom. Instead of dedicating energy to personal improvement, envious people invest it in comparisons and rivalries that rarely lead to true happiness. In summary, excessive competition is a sign of envy from a Stoic perspective because it reflects a lack of authenticity in the pursuit of personal excellence. Instead of healthily competing for growth and self-realization, it's about surpassing others, which goes against Stoic principles of focusing on what we can control and our own ethical and emotional progress. Number 2. Contempt for others' successes. A telltale sign of envy is contempt or disdain for the successes and achievements of others. From a Stoic perspective, this represents a conflict with ethical principles and virtue. Envious people may feel uncomfortable or even resentful towards others' successes. Instead of genuinely rejoicing in others' achievements, they may belittle them, downplay their importance, or attribute them to external factors or luck, rather than acknowledging the effort and dedication that led to those achievements. From a Stoic viewpoint, this type of disdain goes against the virtue of wisdom and justice. Stoics emphasize the importance of recognizing the merit and effort of others, even if we disagree or if those successes are unrelated to our own goals. Instead of scorning others' achievements, Stoics promote understanding and empathy, acknowledging that each person has their own path and struggle in life. Number 3. Defamation or gossip. This sign of envy is related to the tendency of envious people to defame or gossip about those they envy. From a Stoic perspective, defamation and gossip are negative acts that reflect a lack of virtue and self-control in the envious person. Stoics believe that virtue, such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, is fundamental to living a full and ethical life. Defamation and gossip are acts that go against Stoic virtue, as they involve insincerity, slander, and harm to another person's reputation. Those who defame or gossip are often trying to discredit those they envy, seeking to undermine their reputation and create division between them and others. From a Stoic perspective, this behavior is a reflection of a lack of self-control and the desire to harm others to elevate oneself. Stoics emphasize the importance of self-transcendence and focusing on personal improvement rather than harming others. Defaming or gossiping only perpetuates negative emotions and does not lead to a virtuous or happy life. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by their opinions about things." This means that our opinions toward others are more important than external circumstances. Defaming or gossiping only creates negative and disturbing opinions, which goes against Stoic wisdom. Instead of engaging in defamation or gossip, Stoics urge us to practice virtue, empathy, and self-transcendence. Focusing on internal growth and personal improvement is much more valuable from a Stoic perspective than damaging the reputation of others. Lack of empathy is another sign of envy from a Stoic perspective. Empathy involves the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, as well as the ability to show compassion and support towards them. When someone lacks empathy, it may indicate that they are caught up in envy and cannot sincerely rejoice in the achievements or happiness of others. Stoics consider empathy to be an important virtue that allows us to connect with others and understand their experiences and perspectives. Empathy is a manifestation of wisdom and justice, as it involves recognizing the common humanity we share with others and treating them with respect and understanding. The lack of empathy in an envious person can manifest in various ways. Stoics emphasize the importance of overcoming envy and cultivating empathy as part of our path towards virtue and wisdom. They recognize that envy is a destructive emotion that prevents us from living a full and ethical life. Instead, they encourage us to practice self-transcendence and empathy, focusing on the well-being of others and how we can contribute to the growth and happiness of those around us. From a Stoic perspective, empathy is an essential virtue that helps us overcome envy. When a person constantly measures their worth based on what others have or achieve, it's an indicator that they are caught up in envy. Instead of focusing on their own progress and growth, they are distracted by the constant pursuit of outdoing others. Stoics emphasize that the true measure of success and happiness lies within us, in our wisdom and virtue, rather than in external comparisons. Envy arises when we lose sight of this truth and become obsessed with the idea of being better than others. Overcoming constant comparison is a challenge, but it's essential to free ourselves from envy. Stoics urge us to practice self-transcendence and gratitude for what we have, instead of desiring what others possess. By doing so, we can find satisfaction and contentment in our own path, regardless of external comparisons. In summary, constant comparison with others is a sign of envy from a Stoic perspective, as it reflects a lack of self-transcendence and contentment. Stoics urge us to focus on our own progress and virtue rather than obsessing over outdoing others, which will lead us to a fuller and more ethical life. A lack of gratitude is another sign that may indicate the presence of envy from a Stoic perspective. Stoics emphasize the importance of gratitude as a fundamental component for achieving tranquility and virtue. From the Stoic viewpoint, a lack of gratitude arises when a person does not appreciate what they have and instead focuses on what they lack. Those who experience envy often feel dissatisfied with their own circumstances and desire what others have. Gratitude is seen as an antidote to envy, as it allows us to appreciate and make the most of what we already have. Stoics urge us to reflect on the blessings in our lives rather than coveting what others possess. When a person lacks gratitude, they tend to experience a constant sense of lack and discontent. This lack of appreciation for what one has can lead to envy, as they desire what others have without recognizing the value of their own possessions. Stoics remind us that gratitude is an essential virtue that helps us find contentment and serenity amid adversities. Practicing gratitude allows us to focus on what truly matters in life and recognize the richness of our own experiences. To overcome a lack of gratitude and reduce envy, Stoics encourage us to engage in daily gratitude exercises where we reflect on the blessings and experiences we have in our lives. These exercises help us redirect our attention toward what we value and appreciate, rather than what we lack. In summary, a lack of gratitude is a sign of envy from a Stoic perspective, as it reflects a lack of appreciation for what one has and a constant focus on what others desire. Stoics see gratitude as a path to inner peace and virtue, and they urge us to practice it regularly to counteract envy. Constant criticism is another sign that may indicate the presence of envy from a Stoic perspective. Stoics teach that envy often manifests through persistent criticism of others, especially when it is negative and destructive. From the Stoic viewpoint, those who constantly criticize others may be dealing with feelings of envy or dissatisfaction in their own lives. Criticism can be used as a defense mechanism to divert attention from one's own shortcomings. Stoics remind us that constant criticism, especially when it is hurtful or malicious, is not virtuous behavior. Instead, they promote self-reflection and personal improvement, rather than focusing on judging or criticizing others. To address constant criticism from a Stoic perspective, it is important for individuals to recognize their own envy and work on their personal development. Practicing self-discipline, humility, and self-reflection are key steps to overcoming envy and ceasing to constantly criticize others. Stoic philosophy invites us to focus on improving ourselves and seeking virtue rather than finding faults in others. Through self-reflection and self-improvement, we can move away from constant criticism and cultivate a more positive and virtuous attitude. In summary, constant criticism is a sign of envy from a Stoic perspective, as it often reflects personal dissatisfaction and a desire to highlight the imperfections of others. Stoics promote self-improvement and virtue as a way to overcome envy and cease constantly criticizing others. Overcoming the shadow of envy is a challenge, but it is essential for living a fuller and more meaningful life. Stoic philosophy, with its emphasis on self-discipline, gratitude, and the pursuit of virtue, offers valuable tools for addressing envy. By practicing humility and focusing on personal development, rather than comparisons with others, we can illuminate the shadow of envy and live a more authentic and satisfying life. Stoics teach us to address envy, whatever the reason behind our envy, and how we can use it as a tool for our own growth and personal development. Envy doesn't have to be destructive. We can turn it into a source of motivation and self-improvement. In life, we encounter a wide range of people, some gifted with great intelligence, while others may face mental disabilities. So, is envy always bad? The answer is that it depends on what we envy and how we handle that envy. Mostly, envying material things or superficial aspects is pointless. Although they might be nice to have, they shouldn't hinder our ability to experience happiness. On the other hand, envy can be used as a motivational tool for self-improvement. Although Stoics do not promote the obsessive pursuit of material wealth, it's possible to use envy as inspiration to achieve specific goals, if that's what you desire. However, the dark side of envy manifests when it becomes an incentive to harm or destroy what we desire, which is dangerous territory. In summary, the key to effectively handling envy is self-awareness. We must ask ourselves why we feel envy, whether that envy is justified, meaning if what we desire will genuinely lead to happiness, and if we can use it as a source of inspiration to improve. Ultimately, whether from the perspective of Buddhism, Stoicism, or Christianity, the golden rule remains the same. If we focus on our own path, are grateful for what we have, and do not let envy control us, there's no reason to feel envy at all. Thank you for following us on this journey of discovery and learning. If you enjoyed this content and wish to continue exploring fascinating topics, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. By joining our community, you'll be in the know about all our upcoming content, and you won't miss a single video. Epictetus once stated that the key to thriving in life lies in surrounding yourself with people who inspire you to be your best version. You've likely heard the saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Today, we will explore this idea from a Stoic perspective and discuss the 7 types of people who can hinder your progress on the path of Stoic philosophy. Additionally, we will provide tips on how to face these challenging relationships. One type of person we must avoid is the complainer. That friend, family member, or colleague who seems to find fault in everything, whether it's the weather, their job, or even the food at a popular restaurant. They never miss an opportunity to express their dissatisfaction. You might wonder why you should care about this. You might think you can simply ignore them. However, the reality is that constantly dealing with such negativity has a draining effect on your mind and well-being. It's like a slowly dripping tap, depleting your emotional energy reserve. Stoicism teaches us to focus on viable solutions instead of dwelling on problems. For example, imagine you're collaborating on a project with someone who is a perpetual complainer. Every meeting turns into an exhausting complaint session with no constructive dialogue. This impacts the team's morale, diminishes the pursuit of actionable solutions, and can lead you to feel disillusioned with both. So, how does Stoicism help us deal with a complainer? There are several strategies you can employ. First, limit your exposure to this individual whenever possible. If it's not possible because they are a family member or a colleague, the second option is to mentally distance yourself during their tirades, considering their complaints as a strong and unsettling storm, but ultimately temporary and powerless against the immovable mountain that is your inner peace. The third option is to steer the conversation toward solutions or change the subject to something more constructive. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not external events. This Stoic wisdom encourages us to diligently care for our mental peace, ensuring that the negativity of chronic complainers does not divert us from our Stoic path of resilience and virtue. Another type of person we must avoid is what we'll call the drama magnet. We all know someone like this, an individual who seems to be constantly wrapped up in crises, conflicts, or controversies. Their life is like a whirlwind of chaos that can draw you in with its seemingly passionate or exciting energy. But soon you realize that being around them is like navigating through a stormy and dangerous tempest. Drama seems to follow them everywhere, and their ability to involve you in their chaos is almost magical. You might find yourself suddenly in the middle of conflicts that you had no part in initially. A common example could be a friend who constantly has issues with other people in your social circle. Today they're not speaking with Sarah. Tomorrow they're distancing themselves from Tom, and the next day they're asking you for advice. Soon you realize that the cycle never ends, and somehow you find yourself at odds with Sarah or Tom, even when you tried to intervene in the best way possible. A lack of gratitude is another sign that may indicate the presence of envy from a Stoic perspective. Stoics emphasize the importance of gratitude as a fundamental component to achieve tranquility and virtue. From the Stoic viewpoint, the lack of gratitude arises when a person does not appreciate what they have and instead focuses on what they lack. Those who experience envy often feel dissatisfied with their own circumstances and desire what others have. Gratitude is seen as an antidote to envy because it allows us to pray and make the most of what we already have. Stoics urge us to reflect on the blessings we have in our lives rather than coveting what others possess. When a person lacks gratitude, they tend to experience a constant sense of lack and discontent. This lack of appreciation for what one has can lead to envy, as they desire what others have without recognizing the value of their own. Stoics remind us that gratitude is an essential virtue that helps us find contentment and serenity amid adversities. Practicing gratitude allows us to focus on what truly matters in life and recognize the richness of our own experiences. To overcome a lack of gratitude and reduce envy, Stoics encourage us to engage in daily gratitude exercises where we reflect on the blessings and experiences we have in our lives. These exercises help us redirect our attention towards what we value and appreciate rather than what we lack. In summary, a lack of gratitude is a sign of envy from a Stoic perspective, as it reflects a lack of appreciation for what one has and a constant focus on what others desire. Stoics see gratitude as a path to inner peace and virtue and urge us to practice it regularly to counteract envy. Constant criticism is another sign that may indicate the presence of envy from a Stoic perspective. Stoics teach that envy often manifests through persistent criticism towards others, especially when it is negative and destructive. From the Stoic viewpoint, those who constantly criticize others may be dealing with feelings of envy or dissatisfaction in their own lives. Criticism can be used as a defense mechanism to divert attention from one's own shortcomings. Stoics remind us that constant criticism, especially when it is hurtful or malicious, is not virtuous behavior. Instead, they promote self-reflection and personal improvement, rather than focusing on judging or criticizing others. To address constant criticism from a Stoic perspective, it is important for individuals to recognize their own envy and work on their personal development. Practicing self-discipline, humility, and self-reflection are key steps to overcoming envy and ceasing to constantly criticize others. Stoic philosophy invites us to focus on improving ourselves and seeking virtue, rather than finding faults in others. Through self-reflection and self-improvement, we can move away from constant criticism and cultivate a more positive and virtuous attitude. In summary, constant criticism is a sign of envy from a Stoic perspective, as it often reflects personal dissatisfaction and a desire to highlight the imperfections of others. Stoics promote self-improvement and virtue as a way to overcome envy and cease constantly criticizing others. Overcoming the shadow of envy is a challenge, but it is essential for living a fuller and more meaningful life. Stoic philosophy, with its emphasis on self-discipline, gratitude, and the pursuit of virtue, offers valuable tools for addressing envy. By practicing humility and focusing on personal development rather than comparisons with others, we can illuminate the shadow of envy and live a more authentic and satisfying life. Stoics teach us to address envy, whatever the reason behind our envy, and how we can use it as a tool for our own growth and personal development. Envy doesn't have to be destructive. We can turn it into a source of motivation and self-improvement. In life, we encounter a wide range of people, some gifted with great intelligence, while others may face mental disabilities. So, is envy always bad? The answer is that it depends on what we envy and how we handle that envy. Mostly, envying material things or superficial aspects is pointless. Although they might be nice to have, they shouldn't hinder our ability to experience happiness. On the other hand, envy can be used as a motivational tool for self-improvement. Although Stoics do not promote the obsessive pursuit of material wealth, it's possible to use envy as inspiration to achieve specific goals, if that's what you desire. However, the dark side of envy manifests when it becomes an incentive to harm or destroy what we desire, which is dangerous territory. In summary, the key to effectively handling envy is self-awareness. We must ask ourselves why we feel envy, whether that envy is justified, meaning if what we desire will genuinely lead to happiness, and if we can use it as a source of inspiration to improve. Ultimately, whether from the perspective of Buddhism, Stoicism, or Christianity, the golden rule remains the same. If we focus on our own path, are grateful for what we have, and do not let envy control us, there's no reason to feel envy for anything. Thank you for following us on this journey of discovery and learning. If you enjoyed this content and wish to continue exploring fascinating topics, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. By joining our community, you'll stay informed about all our upcoming content, and you won't miss a single video. Epictetus once stated that the key to thriving in life is to surround yourself with people who inspire you to be your best version. You've likely heard the saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Today we will explore this idea from a Stoic perspective and discuss the 7 types of people that may hinder your progress on the path of Stoic philosophy. Additionally, we will provide advice on how to confront these challenging relationships. One of the types of people we must avoid is the complainer, that friend, family member, or colleague who seems to find faults in everything, be it the weather, their job, or even the food at a popular restaurant. They never miss an opportunity to express their dissatisfaction. You might wonder why you should care about this. You might think you can simply ignore them. However, the reality is that constantly dealing with such negativity has a draining effect on your mind and well-being. It's like a slowly dripping faucet, depleting your emotional energy reserve. Stoicism teaches us to focus on viable solutions instead of dwelling on problems. For example, imagine you are collaborating on a project with someone who is a perpetual complainer. Every meeting turns into an exhausting session of complaints without any constructive dialogue. This impacts the team's morale, diminishes the pursuit of actionable solutions, and can lead you to feel disillusioned with both the project and life in general. So, how does Stoicism help us deal with a complainer? There are several strategies you can employ. Firstly, limit your exposure to this individual whenever possible. If it's not possible because they are a family member or colleague, the second option is to mentally distance yourself during their tirades, considering their complaints as a strong and unsettling storm, but ultimately temporary and powerless against the immovable mountain that is your inner tranquility. The third option is to steer the conversation towards solutions or change the subject to something more constructive. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not over external events. This Stoic wisdom encourages us to diligently care for our peace of mind, ensuring that the negativity of chronic complainers does not deviate us from our Stoic path of resilience and virtue. Another type of person we must avoid is what we'll call the drama magnet. We all know someone like this, an individual who seems to be constantly enveloped in crises, conflicts, or controversies. Their life is like a whirlwind of chaos that can draw you in with its seemingly passionate or exciting energy. But soon, you realize that being around them is like navigating in the midst of an exhausting and dangerous storm. Drama seems to follow them everywhere, and their ability to involve you in their chaos is almost magical. You might suddenly find yourself in the middle of conflicts in which you had no initial part. A common example could be a friend who constantly has issues with other people in your social circle. Today, they're not speaking with Sarah. Tomorrow, they're distancing themselves from Tom, and the next day, they're asking you for advice. Soon you realize the cycle never ends, and somehow you find yourself at odds with Sarah or Tom, even when you tried to intervene in the best way possible. A useful strategy for dealing with drama magnets is to practice reflective listening instead of offering advice or taking sides. Reflect their words back to them. For example, if they say, "I can't believe what Sarah said about me," you could respond with something like, "You feel betrayed by Sarah's words." This technique allows you to provide emotional support without getting entangled in the drama yourself. Another strategy is to become selectively unavailable. Stoicism teaches us to value our time, and sometimes that means setting boundaries, turning off your phone during certain hours, or creating focus periods in which you concentrate solely on your work or personal development. Allows you to enjoy the present without the anxiety of depending on the future. This can be especially useful when dealing with drama magnets. Instead of constantly worrying about crises that might happen, focus on the present moment, where you have control. Enjoy your life and do not allow someone else's drama to interrupt it. So, like an experienced navigator, make it a point to keep your ship away from the whirlpools that threaten your journey towards personal growth and tranquility. Continuing our series on the types of people we should avoid, we come to the third type, the detractor. Imagine this. You are an artist, painting a canvas that is like your vision of life. Each brushstroke adds color, depth, and life to your work. Enter the detractor, someone who observes your work, and instead of praising or supporting you, starts to criticize it. They begin to question your choice of colors, point out that it doesn't look realistic, and tell you that most artists never make it good. Their words are like strokes of gray paint that begin to darken your vibrant canvas. This isn't constructive criticism, which can be valuable, but a constant aura of doubt and negativity. A common example of dealing with a detractor is when you share your enthusiasm for pursuing a new career path. You've done your research, spoken with professionals in the field, and even taken some initial courses. But when you share your excitement with the detractor, instead of receiving support, they list all the reasons it might not work out. They tell you the market is too competitive, you don't have the necessary skills, and what happens if you fail? Soon their doubts become yours, and the vision you had starts to wobble. How do you deal with a detractor? You could try an unconventional but effective approach. Ask for their advice. Instead of simply sharing your plans or aspirations, when they are assigned the role of advisors, they are less likely to openly attack your ideas and might offer more constructive feedback. Another strategy is to use a technique called positive confrontation. Instead of absorbing their negativity, you challenge them to think of solutions. If they say something won't work, ask them how they believe someone could succeed in that area. This not only diverts the negativity, but also encourages a more constructive conversation. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, who reminded us that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we might listen twice as much as we speak. Listening doesn't mean absorbing everyone's negativity, but discerning valuable inputs from mere noise. When detractors begin to darken your canvas with their shades of doubt, take a step back, listen, and reflect. Continue painting your own life with the colors that inspire you, and don't let anyone turn your vibrant masterpiece into a dim, gray landscape. Let's talk about the fourth type of people we must avoid: the victim. Imagine life as a chess game where each player has the same pieces and the same goal: to checkmate the opponent's king. It requires strategic thinking, making sacrifices, and taking risks. However, the victim constantly blames the chessboard or even their opponent for every wrong move they make. In their perception, they are in perpetual checkmate, not because of their choices but due to some external force working against them. Their narrative is an endless story of woe is me, with them as the helpless protagonist. It's important to note that some people face genuine hardships and systemic issues. However, the victim we're talking about uses their situation as a permanent excuse, refusing to take any responsibility for their actions or lack thereof. You might find yourself caught in their story, perhaps as a secondary character who constantly needs to rescue them. For example, you spend countless hours listening to a friend blame their failed relationships on their ex-partners, refusing to take any part of the responsibility. So, how do you handle a victim? It's tempting to become their savior, offering endless advice and emotional support. However, Stoics would warn us against this and recommend setting boundaries to protect our own peace of mind. You can employ a technique called compassionate detachment, showing empathy and kindness, but avoiding rescuing them from situations they need to navigate on their own. Offer your ear, but don't become their perpetual problem solver. Marcus Aurelius once said that the best revenge is to be unlike those who committed the wrongdoing. If you find yourself caught in a victim's narrative, resist the temptation to become a victim yourself. Take control of your own chessboard, make conscious decisions, and remember that in the game of life, being perpetually in checkmate is often a choice, not a fate. Advance your pieces, make strategic sacrifices when necessary, and don't play for revenge or pity, but for growth and wisdom. Let's discuss the fifth type of people to avoid: the toxic positive person. We all know someone like this, those people who always seem to exude rainbows and flow with an endless amount of emojis, telling you to be happy even when you're going through tough times. They dismiss your feelings and experiences with a wave of shiny optimism. Imagine your life as a garden where there are flowers but also weeds and pests. The toxic positive person insists on ignoring anything that isn't a pink bloom. If you have aphids on your leaves, they'll tell you to just focus on the flowers and disregard the negativity in your garden. While it sounds pleasant, this approach can make you feel invalidated and disconnected from reality. Suppose you're going through a tough breakup. You're sad, confused, and seeking emotional balance. The toxic positive person's advice is, there are plenty of fish in the sea, smile and be happy. This type of excessive positivity neglects the complexities of human emotions and the realities of life and challenges. So, how can you cultivate your garden without letting toxic positive people trample it with their indiscriminate spraying of good vibes? One strategy is to engage them in a discussion that encompasses both light and shadow. If they tell you to look on the bright side, you could respond, I'm grateful for my health, but it's also okay for me to feel upset about this specific issue. Both can coexist. You can also employ what psychologists call emotional granularity, which is the ability to feel and differentiate between a wide range of emotions, both positive and negative. When the toxic positive person pushes you to just be happy, take a moment to acknowledge and label your emotional nuances. I'm feeling a bit melancholy today because of X, and that's okay, can be a liberating statement. Following Stoic wisdom, remember that happiness is about understanding our duties towards God and man, enjoying the present without anxiety about the future. It's not about focusing solely on the positive or negative, but embracing the complexity of life with equanimity. So the next time the toxic positive person sprays their confetti, take care of yourself and remember that a garden needs both sun and rain to flourish. Embrace your full emotional spectrum and continue nourishing your garden with the richness and complexity it deserves. Let's talk about the sixth type of people to avoid, the manipulator. Imagine your life as a movie where you are the main character and you have an idea of how your story should unfold. The plot twists are your allies and mentors, and your final act is your destiny. But then enters the manipulator, like a shadowy producer who subtly rewrites your script without you realizing it, until one day you discover that your story has completely changed. The manipulator is an expert in the art of emotional or psychological maneuvers. They can use flattery to make you feel guilty or even deceive you into following a path that benefits them. You might have a friend who always manages to have you pay for dinner, saying something like, "You know, I've been having a tough month and you're so successful. It wouldn't mean much to you, but it would make my day." Over time, you realize your generosity has been taken advantage of, but leaving feels uncomfortable because they framed it as a favor to a friend in need. Handling a manipulator can be tricky. One method to counter their tactics is what some experts call fogging. This technique involves agreeing with any truth in the manipulator's statements, but refusing to be swayed by coercive emotions. If they say you should cover dinner because you're doing well, you could respond, "You're right, I've been doing well, but let's split the bill as we usually do." Another approach is to set clear boundaries and enforce them. If the manipulator wants you to lend them money or commit to tasks that make you feel uncomfortable, learn to say no assertively. Keep your tone calm and your words clear. "I can't lend you money, but I'm here to offer you emotional support." Setting a boundary while maintaining the friendship is key. Inspired by Stoic thought, Epictetus warned us that we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. The manipulator thrives on your predictable reactions that manipulate your kindness, guilt, or desire for approval. By choosing to respond differently, you take control of your script again. So, if you find a manipulator lurking in your life, remember that you are the one holding the pen. The story is yours to write. And although the cast may include a variety of characters, the protagonist's journey, your journey should always be guided by your own values and decisions. Claim your script and don't let anyone manipulate the narrative of your life. Let's talk about the seventh type of people to avoid, the time vampire. Imagine your daily routine as a carefully crafted symphony where each moment represents a task or commitment. When they all play together, they create a harmonious balance in your day. But then, the time vampire joins in, screeching a key and drowning out your beautiful melody, turning your composition into a discordant noise. The time vampire isn't necessarily malicious. In fact, they might seem quite harmless. It could be a colleague who constantly interrupts you with trivial questions, turning your productive workday into a series of fragmented moments. Or it could be a friend who invites you to countless social events you're not interested in, making you feel obligated to attend and draining your time and energy. These interactions might seem inconsequential at the moment, but their cumulative effect can be profoundly disruptive. So, how do you protect your symphony from being ruined by a time vampire? An effective strategy is the Pomodoro technique, a time management method that involves dividing your work into intervals, traditionally 25 minutes long, separated by short breaks. During these intervals, you set a clear boundary not to be disturbed, protecting your most productive moments from being nibbled away. If you find yourself dealing with a social time vampire, remember the saying no is not wrong. It's essential for your well-being. Instead of offering elaborate excuses, simply thank them for the invitation and be clear. I appreciate the invitation, but I can't make it. Rejecting an invitation is not a rejection of the person. It's an affirmation of your own needs and priorities. As Seneca said, a well-lived life is enough. Stoicism teaches us that time is one of our most precious resources. It's like the canvas on which we paint the portrait of our lives. We must be highly selective about who and what deserves a stroke of our brush in this grand composition of life. Ensure that every note, every instrument, and every melody align with your greater purpose. Don't let the cacophonic intrusion of the time vampire throw your symphony into disorder. Hold your baton firmly and direct your life with purpose, ensuring that every moment is a well-played note in your harmonious masterpiece. At the end of the day, let's reflect on ourselves. We've explored different types of people who can derail our path towards stoic resilience and wisdom. Let's not forget that self-awareness is key. It's easy to recognize these types in others, but the most challenging and enlightening task is to look within ourselves. Perhaps you are unwittingly playing one of these roles in someone else's life. Remember, Stoicism is not just about navigating the world, it's also about understanding and improving ourselves. If today's discussion has sparked a realization, an epiphany, or even just a bit of introspection, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, if any part of this message has been helpful to you, leave us your like and comment, helping the algorithm recommend it to someone who needs it at this time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. And if you look through the videos we've already uploaded, you're sure to find something to take with you. Have a good day.